Hey, T-ears, you know, kind of... I knew you would. Hey, you're making fun of me for
Tears?
shortening? No, T-ears. T-ears, you know, T-but...
It's actually a short word.
I can't...
shorten even more.
Why can't I shorten Turbo Ethorians? I don't understand why you're giving me a lot of flack for that. Anyhow, guys, this is a little intro to the video. I kind of flubbed up my mic. Apparently, I wasn't recording for the first 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, we kept going with it, and then Nick didn't realize that he wasn't recording his sound, so there was a lot of dead air, and it's basically inaudible and unviewable.
Very, very awkward. So, just wanted to give you guys a little intro. We are doing PAX 2015. Me and our special guest, recurring guest, Tom, is coming in and helping us out with laying down the report, the half-ass report.
So basically the first 5 minutes of this were cut, and then it kind of jumps right into what we were discussing.
Well, I was trying to do something clever, saying doing the meat of things. So I started with the highest quality meat, and then I'm working my way down. So what you guys missed was, like, I was talking about the filet mignon of
the FM of the States.
Yeah, and worked my way up, started from the top, working my way down. If you hear me talking about certain meats, you'll understand where that stupid little joke was coming from.
Yeah, we started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, that's pretty much it. Go ahead and check out this video on PAX, VR, indie games, mainstream games, all the cool shit, and all the shenanigans that came with it. So, go ahead and check it out.
I saw some funny GIF online, though. I saw a funny GIF online, though, of some guy on a roller coaster with a VR headset, and somebody came behind him and pushed him a little bit, and he basically went into like some panic and shock where he was just rolling on the floor, and he couldn't get the headset off his face. It was like weirdly scary stuff about how immersed it get.
I could totally, if I was like in that fighting simulation, you know, flying after an enemy and somebody knocked my chair over, I would totally puke. Because you're everything tells you you're in this cockpit, and then suddenly the real world intervenes. Yeah, that would definitely be hurl worthy.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I just fixed the sound. So, like, just to reiterate for people, we are talking about PAX Prime 2015. Just to reiterate, to fix up the flubs that are ridiculous on my computer. And right now we're discussing the meat, the true tender meat of the subject being virtual reality. But I don't want to harp on it too much. It's great. Like Oculus Rift, I mean, I'm telling you, Dimitri, I am so, like, if I wasn't convinced 2 years ago, this, like, I kind of wish you were there. Like, this
I've never tried it, but it's definitely been something that looks interesting, and everything I've heard from it is positive.
Yeah, they had
You have to.
They had your card in the machine, by the way, like your video card, like as for the test machines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that goes to
once that thing goes to retail, man.
Yeah, you're pretty much ready. Like you're good to go.
If we can get smell-o-vision combined with VR, we'd have the complete experience.
Go to PAX without going to PAX.
Coming soon. And it's just all right. So that I personally felt that was the best one. We tried the alternatives too. Morpheus. Graphics weren't as great, like on the system. Like you could tell, you could see jaggies, but it was definitely still immersive. Like you were still in the mode. Like the game we played was called Riggs. It was a multiplayer mech shooter. And so Tom had his respectable woman and a girlfriend that was on his team, and I had 2 other guys. So needless to say, who was going to turn out on that one. Can we talk about the other handicap, like real quick, Tom, as to why you may have lost that match?
Yeah, so if you have any doubts as to how immersive and convincing VR is, my friend who is playing, she's prone to not feeling good when subjected to certain stimuli, and I knew I was in trouble when we were getting rocked, and I started off in the deployment area again, and I literally, so here's VR, I look over at her mech, and it's just spinning in a circle, indicating she probably was like jacked out of the system or whatever, which she was, and because she felt ill. Like she basically the experience of being in a giant flying mech was not was no bueno for her.
I think a big factor to mention is that she has a pacemaker as well. So she was on the verge of passing out. So truly, it was a hard handicap for Tom over there.
Speaking of immersion, Timmy from chat says he can't wait for them rated R games in VR. If you know what I mean.
I know. I see that. Nudge, nudge. Well, yeah. If he was
huge.
Yeah. If he was curious enough, the Oculus will support other things other than games.
Vivid Entertainment's going to get on that. You said Morpheus had a presence there. Was Kazaa and LimeWire also available? Shout out to my 2,000 babies. What?
Oh, man. And those 30-second clips.
I was able to use the E-Mule.
The E-Mule?
As long as you're using Winamp to play all your files, you're good.
That one's a little late in the game. But bringing it back is the third alternative we tried, and it's something that you could probably get into right now, is the Samsung VR Oculus. Or Samsung VR supported by Oculus. I mean, all right, I know I'm slobbing the knob of that is VR, but I'm telling you, you're trying 3 different things, and it just gets better and better every time. It just solidifies what is coming. So, anyways, graphics, obviously, you're running it right off your phone, and you slide it into the headset, and they have their own controller that Samsung's gonna be bringing out with it. So there was 6 games we were able to demo within a 7-minute trial. And the best game was the worst looking game, but it was the most fun. You basically had a jetpack and you were jetting around the city and stuff, and shooting stuff and just knocking things over. It was unbelievable.
Usually the most simple experiences are the better ones.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know if you felt the same way about that, Tom. I thought that was the best one.
Well, the Gear VR is what it's called, and I came away really impressed with that. I'm on the verge of, I was about to move off Samsung phones, and I think I'm not gonna. I don't know if you need a Samsung phone or just an Android phone, but I was kind of sold on it. Yeah, the key thing to remember here with the VR things is polygon count and so on is still going to depend on the power of the system, as is the image fidelity.
Yeah.
But for me, the key is the motion fidelity. I look and I expect the camera to move with me seamlessly, and as long as that happens, I can be in Poke World looking at Pikachu.
Well, somebody will create it.
Definitely. And I'll say this:
that Pokemon Snap come to life.
Oh,
yes.
You were just making all kinds of wet dreams for those Poke nerds out there.
Nerds. So yeah. I'll say this, I played the Jetpack game, the name of which escapes me at the moment, but I also played a game, and this was a different use of VR than I was expecting. I was expecting everything to be first person, and you're moving your hands around in front of your face, ooh, I'm in the computer. But
Lawnmower Man?
Yes.
I think that unappealing imagery is probably why VR didn't do so well in the 90s, but now I was introduced to a new perspective, which was, I wish I could remember the name of the game, something Quest or something, but basically you control this little goblin in what looked like just sort of a 3D adventure. You controlled him with the controller, but you were looking into the screen, and if you looked around his environment, you could see everything around him in his little house and his village and so on. So there may be some room for traditional platformers and the like, but you'll have this new perspective of having this great view of the world in which they take place. It reminded me of kind of what the Virtual Boy was trying to do back in the day, but without the nausea-inducing red screen.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think just in general, VR has been in development for so long that they've had the time to fine-tune it and not just rush something to market.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, for being a PAX report, we're doing a great job letting you know the names of these games. So, just wanted to let you know.
There was a thing with a goblin, and then there was a jetpack and the Samsung. Good stuff.
I mean, just really the first day, the first day of PAX, I think it's safe to say that me and Tom didn't really accomplish anything at all, really, because it was so overwhelming between the mainstream blockbuster section, these big like AAA title like games and accessories like putting out their booths. You had VR like all over the place to some extent, and then like the little corner, there's like what the show is about is indie like gaming, like, you know. And then even when you went in there was just
so
20, 30 games.
Do I smell a transition coming?
Yeah, you definitely are. I mean, it's we're gonna maybe sorry Tom, gonna keep going with the theme here, the ribeye of gaming. And that would be probably the best one of the better mainstream games that we've come across. Now again, there was a lot to hit up, so it's a really hard choice to really pick. But if you have like one or two, Tom, that
indie game, obviously, talking about indie games.
Yeah, indie games are coming, but
okay.
we're gonna make a note of like maybe a couple of the mainstream games that, you know, may have been shown off at E3, and, you know, we get our hands on it on this particular con. So Tom, did you have any one in particular? I think I may know which one you're thinking of.
Well, you're not really going to believe one of them I'm going to put up there. It's kind of a toss-up between Dragon Quest Heroes.
I knew you were going to say that, yes.
Which was really good. Like, I'm a sucker for Dragon Quest, and like playing that style game. The Zelda one on the Wii U was already awesome, but now playing a Dragon Quest one with even better graphics was like just really incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's a toss-up between that, and I hate to say it, but the more I think about it, the more excited I am about it. Street Fighter V. We only played a couple matches, but I was like, damn, I'm into this.
That's surprising that you said that, because like you had your moment in fighting games like in the past, but didn't expect it to be rekindled like with that particular game.
I think if any game can do it, though, it would be Street Fighter, because it's easy to pull somebody in, especially if they've played any of the Street Fighter games before it.
Yep, I'm so old school that I'm a big time Street Fighter 2 guy, and kind of skipped 3 and Alpha. I mean, I played them a little bit, but wasn't into them. 4 pulled me back in for a while, and 5 might do the same thing. It just, playing it like brought a smile to my face. I really like Street Fighter. It's my favorite fighting game, and it was a good experience playing.
Yeah, I mean, not needless to say, I mean, when they had the booth lined up for Street Fighter V, it was really easy to get access to the game. The thing is like, there was one particular screen, I don't know if they were alternating, one particular game device that was streaming onto a big screen.
Yeah,
so
I'm glad we weren't on that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make a point is I'm glad we weren't on that big screen, because it would have been flat out embarrassing. I mean, you're rusty at the game, and I'm just not that good. So like a bunch of like jumping around, like hard kicks, like attempting to do moves, like it just wouldn't have been pretty for all the more hardcore Street Fighter fans out there. So
yeah,
I think that was worth mentioning.
Speaking of which, before I ask what your picks were, Nick, I will just say, when you're at a gaming convention and people are all queued up to play a game that's not out yet, you don't get to call like, hey, who's got next after you win the match. Like, you're not holding the machine down waiting for the next challenger. You play your match and you move on.
Oh yeah, some goober tried to do that. Like he hesitated for a second. He was like, he just stood there and looked at the back of the line, that being me and Tom next, and he just looked at us and we're like, what are you doing?
So did he win, and he was expecting to
and he was expecting somebody to come up, and I was like, this isn't the arcade, get the fuck out. I'm gonna play with Tom. So that was, you know, it was a good experience. Like I had fun with it, but I think it's safe to say I think we can create runner-ups. I think your true runner-up was Dragon Quest Heroes.
That's fair.
And I actually made, that was probably the only video we made of it. So maybe I'll look into posting that on the Turbo Ether channel. Like, I think that was pretty fun.
You should.
Yeah. And as for me, I would say, man, this is gonna surprise a lot of people. My number one like blockbuster game was Star Wars Battlefront.
Ooh.
Believe it or not.
Well, that did create a lot of buzz during E3.
But you gotta understand, like, I respect what Star Wars is, but I don't fawn over it like everyone else. Like, because that's not the path that I took. I decided to take the weeaboo path. Power Rangers was my thing, you know, and like all that other stuff, and anime and all that garbage. Wow. But like, when I had that game's hands-on, the graphics were just jaw-dropping. I couldn't believe it, and like, just the entire lore of everything was was great. Like it was so unbelievable. I might get this relatively soon. I was gonna say day one, but let's be realistic. I don't day one games, but I will get it relatively soon. Like it is a great looking game. Like the demo itself was you and a friend playing like a horde mode, like, you know, gauntlet, like waves of enemies come at you. So waves of stormtroopers were coming at us. And like I was like, all right, piece of cake. After a while, man, they just really start piling on you, and I was just like, well, we didn't even finish the demo properly. We were given like 10 minutes, and we had to leave early because we just lost. It wasn't me and Tom, it was me and another fella that played.
Now, real quick, were you guys testing games that you were genuinely interested in, or that had the shortest amount of line to wait in?
Initially, games we were interested in. Towards the end, which we'll mention in the we have a segment of shenanigans for PAX. We will be making a mention of why, what we were trying at that point. So, real quick, my runner-up is right here, the Triforce Heroes. Great game. My only quick tidbit on that is it'll be a great game if you have people that are versed in Zelda, playing Zelda.
God.
That is.
Yes.
If you get people that don't know how to play Zelda, you're gonna have a bad time. Is that how the meme goes? Like, it's gonna be bad. And I had to wait an hour and a half. Well, maybe, what can we say, Tom? Give you guys something to think about on the bonus segment. Maybe a total of 4 hours to wait for these t-shirts.
Damn.
Coming soon. All right, and to kind of transition over the Chuck Sirloin of of games, maybe some of the indie games. There was a lot of indie games out there, and they were doing a really bang up job. Now, Tom, like, what really captured you? Like one of the indie games out there?
Well, I'll say there was a lot of really entertaining just stuff out there in the traditional game space, and maybe I'll let you mention one or two or your favorite. But the one that most captured me was That Dragon Cancer. Have you heard of that?
That Dragon, Cancer.
Yeah, which is more of an experience than a game. Basically, it was this guy who lost his son to cancer, and he is telling the story of that experience through a game. And it's more of an interactive narrative or story. You know, it says you're not platforming, you're experiencing this. And man, it was so emotional that the next day I subjected my lady to it, and she was really glad I did, because it was really, really moving. And then she ended up like walking away like crying, had to go and like go to the bathroom so as not to cry in public, and then we had to go back so she could hug the poor guy.
So is it like a Gone Home type deal where you're investigating?
Yeah, it has a little bit of that, a little bit of like art to it, because it wasn't the best looking game in the world, but it had like a certain style to it. And by the way, like, just to add on top of the game that Tom is mentioning, the cancer was brain cancer, and the son passed away at 1 year old. 1 year old.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was.
Talk about that getting deep.
Yeah.
I'm not. So, elements of the game lead me to believe that the child lived longer than that, but I need to get more background, because certain elements led me to believe that he suffered and then was impaired later, but I don't.
Actually,
let me sit there and ask the guy like for the storyline, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me correct myself. He was probably diagnosed at 1 year old.
Yeah, I think so.
But you saw him, like, still he may have passed away as a toddler. Which
he was young.
Yeah, like it was pretty deep. I was watching Tom, and it was just. It didn't look. I wish I demoed it. I didn't get a chance to, but
Do you have a release date for that, or is that still in development?
It's still in development. So they had a Kickstarter for it last year, and then right now they're just chugging it out. Like they're looking to put it out. I don't know. Like I think they were aiming for next year, but it's to be determined, really.
Well, all right. So what about you, Nick? You got to follow up with something that hit you on that deep, personal, emotional level.
It didn't. It's the complete opposite. It's to kind of lighten up the mood. We played something a little something called Viking Squad, which was like very like. It was a good traditional beat 'em up with some strong, like, complex elements. So that was really fun. The art style was great, cartoonish kind of thing going on, and it was
What's it called again?
Viking Squad. yeah, go check it out. Like, and I urge other people to check it out as well. Really cool, really fun game.
So it looks like Castle Crashers, basically.
Yeah. Like, it was. I think we tried it for like nearly 20 minutes.
It basically is Castle Crashers.
Yeah. Well, actually, in retrospect, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it is, but with nicer graphics. But it was a lot of fun. Like, there were so many other games, but it was really hard to get a hold of some of them because like just the lines were like, even lines for like the indie booths were just a little tough. Which
PAX was crowded.
Which really wants me to transition over to the beef tips of this segment, and like
I wrote all this down in advance. Nick,
no, these are things I think about.
By the time we get to the bonus episode, it's just going to be like the hot dog of left over.
Actually, let's roll with that. Let's roll with that.
Beef jerky of PAX. Let's get to it.
Well, beef jerky is probably better for you than hot dogs.
The pig lips of PAX.
Yeah.
What do we got left?
Honestly, who eats beef tips? Like, you only see those in those frozen TV dinners, and they taste. You think you're getting like bits of steak? No, it tastes like garbage, and then like all frozen and stuff. Whatever. Like, I'm done with this. Anyhow, the beef tips being the shenanigans that we had to go through, and as we kept mentioning throughout this episode, it was just the long lines. Yeah. Can you attest to that, Tom?
Yeah, I might have to reevaluate future PAX attendance based on that. It just seemed excessive, and I'm not trying to down PAX. You know, it's a symptom of their success, and they put on a great show. But you know, a lot of people want to go, and a lot of people do go, and consequently, it is a long wait to check out these top tier premium games.
It was.
I mean, how many PAX do they have a year? Like 2 or 3?
4. I believe.
Yeah.
They added PAX South this year. Yeah, and it's just I mean, it's cool that it's growing and stuff, but man, like, is it like a pain in the ass? Like, towards the end, Dimitri, Saturday, Sunday, and surprisingly Monday was almost more packed than Sunday. Like, almost on par with Saturday. The lines were
that rarely happens.
Yeah, the queues of the lines were like, if you wanted to play anything remotely like interesting or top notch, it was 2 to 3 hours you were gonna have to wait.
Yep.
Did we really want to do that? Like that? I mean, yep. I did do that for Star Fox Zero, and that game was awesome, by the way.
You are committed.
I mean, that's a lot of the reason I hear people are always down about Comic-Con, because those lines are always crazy huge, and it's just a bunch of like sweaty people, like, you know, packed like sardines.
Yeah,
it is. And man, I'm speaking as somebody that goes to Disney on the regular. Like, I'm okay. I'm not above waiting in long lines, but like, it's kind of like waiting for an amusement park ride that's going to be in your living room in a couple months. Just wait. Yeah. Just be patient.
Yeah, it is. It was out of control. Like,
but how else are you gonna get that sweet Zelda swag?
Yeah, I mean, we made sure it did that. Like on Sunday, because Monday they were gonna be like not giving them anymore. And obviously, when we passed by there, it was not a ghost town, but obviously not as packed as it was like those previous days.
Swag makes the line waiting proposition a little more appealing. If I know I'm going to get some stupid $2 tchotchke out of it, I'll probably wait in line. But if it's just the game, unless I'm dying to play it, I can just wait.
Star Fox Zero got me that sweet badge though, so on badge. But anyhow, like to transition from that, like I think a good way to segue is, we didn't even get to try the other virtual reality that may have escaped some people's mind, that being the HTC Vive. Yeah. And because, all right, the system they had, a very smart system at that, but just to not provide enough for people was kind of ridiculous, was signing up for appointments. So you sign up for an appointment for a specific time, you come back at that time, and you go straight into the experience.
That damn thing reminds me, quick random tangent, reminds me of Gen Con when we went like a month ago.
Oh, yes!
Real quick, we went to Gen Con, we bought these generic tickets that you have to use to demo games and do all kinds of stuff. So we're, in the day one, we're like, yeah, let's just get some generic tickets. You never know what interesting thing we'll see to find and just play test. Needless to say, we didn't find shit. So we had these generic tickets that we're walking around the floor with. So the last day there, we see like these giant, like mech screens like that you get into. It's all enclosed. There's like 360 surrounded like TVs. And we're like, oh sweet, let's fucking use our generic tickets on this. Oh, sorry, you have to make an appointment, and we're all booked up for the day. So
oh, that's
shit out of luck.
Had we would have known, like in the beginning, there was no information telling you about this amazing I was clamoring because it was the only video game, real video game there. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my god, had I would have known, I probably would have went through this 2 or 3 times. But it was you were inside of a mech,
Yeah, it looked legit, but...
Gen Con, was it a promotion?
Yeah, it was... I don't even catch the name of what it was. It just looked cool, but they were all booked up for the day.
It was very random. So, yeah, I don't know. It was too much. but just HTC, to get back to HTC, yeah. I mean, all right, this is one of the many shenanigans that more of shenanigans will be talked about in the bonus if you stick around or check that out. The line, all right, so we heard about it. Actually, Tom, I'll let you go with this one because you'll explain it.
Okay,
well.
All right. I was heading down to meet Nick when he was coming in on the light rail from the airport. And so I passed by this lot with a big HTC trailer truck in it, and it's this whole thing where they're doing this virtual reality experience. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna tell Nick about that. It doesn't look too crowded. It looks like we just walk up. It's outside. It's in a an empty lot basically outside of PAX, so we should just be able to roll up on this thing no problem.
Yeah.
So we spend the rest of the weekend trying to get into this thing unsuccessfully, and our best shot is on Monday when we think it's going to be the lightest, and we get up super early, and they open up the registration at 9:30 or something for this thing. So we roll in there at 8.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock in the morning. And the PAX main floor doesn't open until 10. So we figure we'll register for this, then we'll go in the last day of PAX. Forget about it. These nerds were lined up all the way around the block. And
we were pretty much right in front of the cutoff, which, by the way, I want to make a quick mention. When you go on vacation, you are not supposed to really wake up early. I spent every day waking up early, and some things got accomplished and some didn't. But the point being is we should have signed up for it Saturday, but we decided to go after some free fit band that Razer was giving away.
A fit something at a gaming?
Yeah, I mean the irony of it. Some of them looked like they wanted it, and some of them looked like they needed it.
They needed it. Yeah, I almost think Razer,
hey.
They're doing their part to make sure their customers live.
Yeah. It was it was something that's retailed at $50 given away for free. So, but we thought we'd have a shot at HTC, but apparently these nerd herds just wouldn't give up on it. And we asked the first person, what time did he line up? The first person, Tom.
6 o'clock.
Fuck! 6 o'clock? Are you kidding me?
Are you serious?
Ridiculous.
That impersonation was unfair. I'm just pissed that I didn't get to see it.
To me, 6 o'clock. To me, 6 o'clock isn't even a time that exists. In the day.
That means that fool was in line for 3 hours waiting to sign up for this thing.
Yeah.
And the thing that irritated me is later on, while waiting in the lengthy Star Fox line, Nick overheard somebody saying that HTC was the best VR experience at the show. So
better than Oculus. I was like, I'm gonna let Tom know this, just to rub salt on the wound.
One last thing about that, Nick. My lady and I were walking downtown after the show because I was taking her to catch a bus, and I actually got to witness that truck pulling out of the parking lot. I wanted to go just bang on it no!
It's not too late.
That would have been great. But I don't want to, like Tom said, I don't want to, really steer people away from, PAX. PAX is a great experience if you have the patience for it. My final thoughts, I think we could have just went 3 days and been happy.
So you're Jerry Springering this thing?
Yeah. I did. That was the first thing that came to mind. But, I'm just saying, great experience, but if you do too much of it, that's what happened. It's just it burnt Tom out. Tom was done. Guy tapped out halfway through the show. It was just.
Can I add something? Can I, as
sure.
a special guest, can I add one more thing to your Jerry Springer moment?
Sure thing.
PAX is video gaming, but it's also a big tabletop and RPG gaming convention. So if you have both and you can split your time between the grueling lines on the main show floor and sitting down and playing some tabletop stuff, that really helps. But I know Nick's more of a video game guy, so
I'm assuming, isn't that like PAX has been around for a while? So during the first few incarnations, wasn't it more geared towards like card games and tabletop stuff, or no?
It was. I think it was always supposed to be both because there was no show that catered to both interest groups. But that said, Nick was there to maximize his video game experience time, so I didn't want to have him like sitting with me playing some card games.
Which is, it's all good, like that's fine, but yeah, I really needed some of that sweet video game time. But
yeah, so
on that note,
just a tip anyway.
Yeah, always. And on that note, folks, we're gonna close this portion of the show. Like this video, comment, subscribe, let us know what you thought. I mean, there was a whole bunch of we could go on for hours about PAX, but like we're just gonna leave it to the nitty-gritty. Check out the links on gamerslife.guru, the Turbo Ether Facebook. You can just go to turboether.com, if you want to let people know, like, and they don't have to search for it, even though we're on the top of Turbo Ether, guys. And so, but if you just want to give them that sweet old URL, it'll redirect straight to the channel. And feel free to follow the Twitter, soon to be coming Twitter. And I still haven't. Man, it was been a whirlwind since coming back on PAX. And
it's only slightly clunky, so keep going with it.
Yeah, and a quick plug for Tom. Check out Nerdstravaganza and nerdstravaganza.com to check out the other aspects of the nerds of podcasting. And on that note, folks, may the Triforce be with you.